Question 2. Customers are increasing their use of renewable energy, which results in lower demand for electricity, the electricity that the PUD sells. This forces the utility to increase prices. How will you balance support for renewable energy with a balanced PUD budget? Mr. Catlin, you have 90 seconds to respond.
The renewable energy, I think, is very important. Supply and demand, if we use more renewable than the dams, I think it will keep the prices pretty steady. Until I get in there, I really don't know what we need to do on the budget end of it to make ends meet, but I think if we streamline, I think everything will work out well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Question 2. Customers are increasing their use of renewable energy, which results in lower demand for electricity the PUD sells. This forces the utility to increase prices. How will you balance support for renewable energy with a balanced PUD budget? Mr. Henderson, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Well, anytime we're adjusting budget and when we have influences to our income, there's going to be an impact. You look at your budget, you prioritize, and you work from there.
Okay. Question 2. Customers are increasing their use of renewable energy, which results in lower demand for the electricity the PUD sells. This forces the utility to increase prices. How will you balance support for renewable energy with a balanced PUD budget? Mr. Mitchell, you have 90 seconds to respond.
Well, I think it's obvious that there is more demand for renewable energy, and the solar energy especially, and wind has been a big contender in this county and in the state of Washington. And that's going to continue to increase. You're right that probably with the lack of volume, that PUD is probably going to continue to raise prices for the power they have. One control I know in my business as business fluctuates that I've had is control expenses. If income's down, you have to control expenses. That may mean fewer people, it may mean fewer capital projects. I've had a little bit of insight into what the local PUD is doing at this time. I think they're wise stewards of the resources of the PUD. I think they're doing a good job financially. I actually worked with the chief financial officer, Janine Pratt, in my job is in the Ellensburg Rodeo Association. I was the treasurer and I was also office manager, so I worked closely with Janine. She did our accounting and actually worked as a consultant for us for a while. So I'm fairly well versed in what the economics are of the PUD, and it's not my first rodeo per se, because I've been involved in business for a long time.
Thank you. Question 2. Customers are increasing their use of renewable energy, which results in lower demand for the electricity that the PUD sells. This forces the utility to increase prices. How will you balance support for renewable energy with a balanced PUD budget? Mr. Kelleher, you have 90 seconds.
Well, that's a good question, multifaceted question that brings in a lot of issues. It doesn't necessarily raise your electrical rates, because if the renewable energy displace high cost, avoidable cost power, it would actually reduce it. So right now we kind of have an inversion in our tier 1, tier 2 rates, where tier 2 can be lower than our tier 1 BPA rates, but that's going to change over time in people producing renewable energy at their local home. I fully support and encourage. And so I look forward to that happening. But I definitely disagree with the premise that uses electrical rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 2. Customers are increasing their use of renewable energy, which results in lower demand for the electricity the PUD sells. This forces the utility to increase prices. How will you balance support for renewable energy with a balanced PUD budget? Mr. Morris, you have 90 seconds.
Renewable energy is definitely a thing that is here, and it has become more evident as we go along. The PUD is in an interesting position with selling power from vendors which they purchase and then transferring that to their customers. I believe that the PUD will need to find a way to either somehow develop their own solar, wind, power systems, go more in a direction of using more of that power. And we will have to embrace the renewable energy that is here in front of us now. I can't sit here and say that I know how all of that will happen. I don't believe until if I am elected and I'm in that position and I can understand fully where the PUD sits as term of customers, in terms of their customer base and how much their customers are using renewable energy. I don't think I can give a solid answer as to what that percentage will be and how the PUD will move forward. I know that we're very fortunate to have the commissioners we have. One of is vastly understands renewable energy. So I look forward to being able to take that challenge and to be able to explore how we move forward with renewable energy.
Thank you.